John Casta here, 60-day dude, just finished day 18. I have a little lesson for you about saturated fat intake I want to share with you. So, you're probably taking a good amount of saturated fat into your diet. What saturated fat primarily comes from is animal products, such as dark meats or dairy products. Also, a few other sources have saturated fats, such as coconut oil. So, when you intake saturated fat, generally speaking, directly raises your total cholesterol and your low density lipoproteins, both which have the labels as TC and LDL on the medical chart, which you may have seen or may not. LDLs are technically the bad fat count, or HDLs you want more in abundance as the good fat. Not all saturated fat is bad, though, when it comes down to speaking specifically. It really depends on the number of carbons in the chain of atoms of the fat itself. So a shorter chain is much worse for you than a longer chain. So I'm going to be talking about the shorter chains today. Shorter chain fats slow down energy expenditure. They actually block the absorption of energy and the processing of the saturated fat, which in return stores it. It obviously clogs straight to your arteries, hardens arteries, and increases blood pressure. And letting there's a plaque also puts you at risk for heart disease. So what you need to do is obviously limit your intake of saturated fat. And when I say that, I specifically mean about 8% of your total diet should be from saturated fat. By limiting it, since it's hard to really separate the short chain from the long chain fats that you find in foods, because most foods that have saturated fat have a little bit of both at least, the best thing to do is just limit your overall intake. But another more important thing is to increase your monounsaturated fat intake, mainly because it actually has a reverse effect of the energy expenditure blocked from the shorter chain saturated fats. So this is going to counter that effect of your body trying to just store the saturated fats. It's actually going to burn it and churn it out the door. So lesson of the day is high intake of monounsaturated fats.